Welcome to Reddit Confessions.
There's a kind of pain that doesn't come with screams. It comes with silence. Long, heavy, suffocating silence. That's what I remember most about the day my life cracked open. Not the anger, not even the heartbreak. Just that dead, still silence. My name's Liam. I'm 44. Been married to my wife, Melissa, for 18 years. We've got 2 kids, both teenagers now, one in high school, the other just started college. Quiet house these days. Quieter than it used to be. I drive trucks for a living. Long haul. The kind of job that has me sleeping in the back of a cab more often than in my own bed. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. And lately, it's been paying off a mountain of debt from our second round of IVF. Melissa always wanted a big family. I did too. When the first 2 didn't come easy, we kept going. She cried after every failed cycle. I held her, told her we'd try again. Whatever it took. I was out on the road for 12 days straight when I got the call. It was my younger brother, Adam. "Hey man," he said, his voice scratchy thin. "I'm out. Finally. Rehab's done." Adam's 5 years younger. Grew up chasing my shadow. Then he started chasing pills, and everything went downhill fast. He's been in and out of trouble since his 20s, DUIs, rehab stints, burnt bridges all over the place. Still, he's my brother. I was the one who picked him up that day, drove him back to my place. He looked like hell, skinny, pale, that restless twitch in his jaw like he couldn't sit still even while sitting. But he smiled like he meant it. Said he was ready to start fresh. Melissa didn't even hesitate when I brought it up. "Of course he can stay," she said. "He's family, just until he finds work." We set him up in the guest room, gave him some space, got him a gym membership. Melissa even started cooking extra, big homemade meals like she used to before we got busy and tired and quiet. I was proud of her, and I was proud of myself for trying to help him. Funny how life lets you feel good about the setup before it guts you with the punchline. It started small, too small to notice. I came home from a haul and found one of my hoodies in the laundry, one I hadn't worn in months. Melissa said she borrowed it for a morning walk. Fair enough. Then I noticed Adam had a new watch. Same brand as mine. When I asked where he got it, he shrugged and said, "Melissa picked it up for me. Said I needed to look more presentable for interviews." That felt off, but I let it go. I wanted to believe in the good, in redemption, in trust. But trust, it turns out, is like glass. You don't realize it's cracked until it's already shattered. A week later, I was reviewing nanny cam footage, not because I suspected anything, but because our dog had been chewing up furniture again. Melissa told me to figure out which room he was wrecking during the day, since I had set the cameras up a few months back. So I opened the app, scanned through the clips. Most were boring, the dog sleeping, pacing, staring out the window. Then, around 2:17 a.m. on a Tuesday, I saw something I'll never unsee. Melissa, barefoot, wearing nothing but one of my old hoodies, sneaking down the hallway, opening the guest room door, slipping inside, and the door closing behind her. I didn't flinch, didn't curse, didn't even blink. I just watched the screen, rewound it, watched again, and again. My wife, slipping into my little brother's bed, wearing my clothes, in my house, while I was out there driving through the night, eating gas station food, hauling freight across state lines just to pay off the debts we both cried over. They were here. Together. I sat in that chair for over an hour, completely still. Then I closed the laptop. And that's when the silence hit. The deep, slow, suffocating silence. Not the kind you fill with yelling or breaking things. The kind you plan in. It's funny, the things you notice after betrayal. The way she starts humming in the kitchen again. The way he laughs too loud at her jokes. The way your own house starts to feel like a stage, and you're the only one who doesn't know the lines. After I saw the footage, I didn't confront them. I didn't storm into the guest room. Didn't scream. Didn't cry. Instead, I went to work the next morning like nothing happened. Kissed her on the cheek. Nodded at Adam. Grabbed my keys. Drove to the warehouse. And on my lunch break, I made a phone call. Noah Bennett. We served together in the Navy. After he got out, he became a private investigator. One of the best in the state. The kind of guy who doesn't ask questions unless he knows he won't like the answers. "Noah," I said, my voice tight flat. "I need a favor." He didn't hesitate. "Name it." "I think Melissa's cheating on me." A pause. "You want surveillance?" "I want the truth. And I want you to pretend we never had this call." I met him that night behind a diner 2 towns over. Gave him everything. Addresses, schedules, passwords, camera access. I even handed him the clip from the nanny cam. He didn't ask questions, just nodded and said, "Give me a week." I barely slept that night. Melissa curled up beside me like she always did, arms wrapped around me like nothing had changed. Like she wasn't sneaking into my brother's room every time I left for work. I stared at the ceiling until sunrise. For the next few days, I went through the motions, smiling, laughing, kissing her goodbye. Watching Adam shuffle around the house like he hadn't buried a knife in my back. He made coffee in the mornings. Talked about getting a job at some mechanic shop. Said he wanted to do things right this time. And Melissa? She played the part perfectly. Made dinner every night. Wore perfume to bed. Even sent me photos of the dog while I was at work. But I wasn't looking at the pictures anymore. I was watching the timestamps. I kept my distance. I kept my mouth shut. And I kept waiting. Then, 6 days later, Noah called. "Liam," he said, voice clipped. "You sitting down? Tell me. I've got eyes on them. Multiple recordings. She goes into his room at night when you're gone. He closes the blinds. Stays there until morning." I said nothing. I also pulled phone records. Texts. Calls. She deleted most of it, but not all. Another pause. "I know this hurts, man. But this is textbook. She's not hiding it because she doesn't think you'd ever look." That part stuck with me. She's not hiding it because she thinks I'd never look. That's how much faith she had in me. Not in my loyalty, not in my love, but in my blindness. That night, after she fell asleep, I walked past Adam's door. Listened. Nothing. No whispers. No movement. I could have opened the door. Could have ended it right there. But I didn't want revenge built on impulse. I wanted something deeper. I wanted them to feel what I felt, but slower, piece by piece. So I sat at the kitchen table, opened my laptop, and began writing an email to my attorney. Wyatt Hayes. Divorce specialist. Ruthless. Surgical. Expensive. Worth every penny. The next day, I scheduled a consult. Told Melissa I was picking up extra shifts. She kissed me on the cheek. Said she was proud of me. Wyatt laid it out clean. California law. Community property. If we go in fast and loud, she gets half. But if you play it quiet, we can get leverage. Catch her in the act. Build a timeline. Press for fault. You want the house? The savings? You want the kids on your side? Then we do this my way. I nodded. I want it cold. I want it legal. And I want her to regret the moment she ever touched my brother. Wyatt smiled. Then let's bury them in paperwork. A week passed. Melissa asked if we should plan something for our anniversary, 20 years next month. I told her yes. She smiled. Said she had a few surprises planned. I bet she did. Meanwhile, I kept feeding Noah whatever he needed, schedules, patterns, passwords. He was building a case file so thick it could have been a novel. Every photo, every clip, every deleted message he recovered. Evidence. Proof. The truth they thought I'd never ask for. One night, I found Adam in the garage, fiddling with my old motorcycle. "Think I can fix her up?" he said with a grin. "Might even take her for a ride." I smiled. "Sure. Just wear a helmet." I almost laughed at the irony. The man screwing my wife now asking to ride my bike. It would have been funny if it wasn't so tragic. But I let him keep talking. Because the more he talked, the less he noticed me watching. And the more I watched, the clearer it all became. This wasn't about sex. Not really. It was about betrayal. And betrayal? That deserves a response. There's a moment, after everything falls apart, when the world feels still. Not peaceful. Not calm. Just still. Like you're standing in the wreckage of your own life, and even the air is too stunned to move. That's where I was. I'd spent 2 weeks pretending I didn't know. Pretending I was just a hard-working husband with a deadbeat little brother crashing in the guest room. Pretending I didn't have video clips of my wife slipping out of our bed to crawl into his. But the pretending was starting to crack. I started noticing little things. Melissa humming while she folded laundry, his laundry. The way Adam would wink at her during dinner when he thought I wasn't looking. Or how she stopped asking me how I slept. Because she knew. She knew I wasn't sleeping. She knew I wasn't touching her anymore. That I barely looked her in the eye. And instead of trying to fix it, she just adjusted. Like I was a lamp she moved out of the way to redecorate. I'd become furniture. Background noise. The man who paid the bills while she played house with my brother. And I let her. I let her because I needed every piece of evidence lined up like dominoes. I needed the leverage. And maybe, just maybe, I needed the pain. Because it was easier to feel rage than to face the truth. My own blood had betrayed me. Adam, the kid I taught to ride a bike, the one I bailed out of jail, the one I paid to get into his first apartment, the one I defended to our parents even when he didn't deserve it. He'd always been a mess. But I never, not once, believed he'd do this. Until I saw the footage. Until I saw my wife, laughing in his arms in the backyard, wearing my hoodie. Until I heard them whispering behind the garage at night, voices low, smug. I could never do this with him around, she said once. Adam laughed. That's why he's always working, babe. That's the beauty of it. That word, babe, coming out of his mouth, meant for her? It made me physically ill. I didn't cry. Not at first. Not even when Noah sent me a folder labeled final_evidence. I opened it, scrolled through the files. One by one. Each one a dagger. Photos. Text messages. Audio clips. Melissa, telling Adam she was just waiting for the right time to leave me. Adam, saying he didn't care about the fallout. Melissa, whispering she was tired of being Liam's wife. She wasn't just cheating. She was replacing me. Like I was a chapter they'd already read. Like I was the before picture in their new fantasy life. I closed the laptop, sat in the dark, and I cried. Not loud, not messy, just quiet, broken tears. I buried my face in my hands and let the weight of it all crush me. The years, the sacrifices, the loyalty, gone, stolen by the two people who should have protected me most. And that's when the anger finally came. Not hot, not reckless, but cold, precise, purposeful. Because I realized something in that silence, something terrifying in its clarity. They thought they'd get away with it. They thought I was too loyal, too quiet, too tired to fight back. And that made their betrayal worse. It wasn't just an affair. It was a calculated decision to use me, to hollow me out until there was nothing left but a wallet and a roof over their heads. But I wasn't hollow. I was patient, and patience is a weapon. The next morning, I called Wyatt. Move forward, I said. Quietly. I want the paperwork drafted. I want her served the night of our anniversary. He didn't even blink. You sure? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Noah was next. Start editing the footage, I told him. I want a highlight reel. A greatest hits of betrayal. Something I can play for a crowd. He chuckled. You're really gonna go through with it? I'm not burning bridges, Noah. I'm nuking the whole damn village. The plan was simple. Let them think they've won. Let them believe I'm clueless, tired, old. Play the devoted husband. Host the anniversary party. Smile for the photos. Then, when everyone's watching, pull the pin. Show them exactly what they've done. Not in a private confrontation. No, that's what they'd want. Something small, manageable, controllable. But they don't get that. They don't get privacy. They don't get dignity. They get exposed. Publicly, painfully, and permanently. I planned our 20th anniversary party with the same care you'd use to wire explosives. Every detail mattered. The guest list, the decor, the music, the timeline, the moment. Melissa thought I was doing it for her. And in a way I was. Just not the way she expected. I told her I wanted to go big this year. That 2 decades of marriage deserved a proper celebration. She lit up like a teenager. Said she'd always dreamed of a formal backyard party. Lights strung through the trees, soft music, long tables, catered dinner. I want people to remember this night, she said. Oh, they would. I told her to let me handle the guest list. Said it was a surprise. She smiled like she couldn't believe how romantic I was being. Adam, of course, played dumb. Man, he said one night over beers, you're really going all out. Melissa deserves it, I replied. He clinked his bottle against mine. You're a better man than I am. And for the first time in my life, I looked him in the eyes and said, yeah, I know. He laughed. I didn't. I invited everyone. Our family. Her family. My parents. Her parents. Friends from college. Neighbors. Our kids, both flying in from school, thinking they were coming home for a celebration. But I also invited 2 people who mattered more than any of them. Wyatt, my lawyer, and Noah, the man with the footage. They were coming as old friends. No one would question it. I also had a projector installed under the excuse of showing a video montage of our life together. Childhood photos, wedding clips, memories. The truth? It would be a live detonation. I rented the chairs, ordered the champagne, had the lights strung just the way Melissa described. She helped me pick out the playlist. lying in bed beside me. I've been feeling closer to you lately. I kissed her forehead. You have no idea, I whispered. The day before the party, I got my STD test results back. Clean. Thank God. It was one of those practical, brutal things you have to do when your wife's been sleeping with your brother. I also made a final update to my will and changed the beneficiaries on all accounts. Everything would go to our kids. Melissa? She'd get served with divorce papers by the time dessert hit the table. Noah had finished editing the footage. 5 minutes, start to finish. No narration. No music. Just clips, her sneaking into Adam's room. Him wrapping his arms around her in the backyard. Her whispering, he'll never find out. He's too busy working. Raw. Clean. Damning. We loaded it onto a flash drive. I labeled it, for Melissa, a night to remember. The morning of the party, she kissed me. Longer than usual. Slower. You're really amazing, you know that? She said. I just smiled. I'd spent weeks suppressing everything. Rage, grief, humiliation. But now, with the finish line in sight, I felt something else. Peace. Not because I was healing, but because I knew justice was coming, and it would be wearing a suit. The party started at 6 p.m. The backyard glowed with warm string lights. Candles flickered on every table. The food smelled incredible. Melissa wore a navy dress that brought out the gold in her eyes. She looked stunning. A lot of guests told her that. Adam wore a clean white shirt, sleeves rolled up, hair slicked back like a discount James Dean. He shook hands, made small talk, joked with our uncles. Melissa stuck close to me all night, like she wanted to show the world how happy we were. And I let her. We took pictures, laughed with guests, clinked glasses, all while I counted down the minutes. When Wyatt arrived, I gave him a nod. He had the envelope ready. When Noah arrived, he gave me a subtle thumbs up. Everything was set. The kids hugged us both, told us how happy they were to be home. My son handed me a gift. You guys made it 20 years, he said. That's rare now. I nodded. It is. Around 8:15 p.m., Melissa tapped her glass to get everyone's attention. I just want to thank all of you for being here, she said, voice warm, glowing. Liam and I have had our ups and downs, but we've always held each other through everything. He's my best friend, my rock. I watched her lie, watched her shine, watched everyone smile. She turned to me. And now, Liam has a little surprise for all of us. He's been working on something really special. I smiled, took the mic. My wife is right. I've been planning this night for a while, and I want to share something that shows just how far we've come. I walked over to the projector, plugged in the flash drive. The screen lit up. For a second, all you could hear was the clinking of glasses and soft laughter. Then the first clip played. Melissa, in my hoodie, opening the guest room door, sliding in beside Adam. Someone gasped. The next clip, Adam with his hand on her lower back in the kitchen. Then, he'll never find out. He's too busy working. Melissa froze. Adam stood still, pale, jaw tight. The crowd? Dead silent. A few people audibly whispered, "Is this real?" And then Wyatt stepped forward, manila envelope in hand. "Melissa Carter," he said, "you've been served." The moment that video cut to black, the silence was deafening. No one moved. No one spoke. Melissa just stood there, frozen in the middle of our backyard, the screen behind her still glowing from the last frame of footage, her in Adam's arms, laughing. She wasn't glowing now. Her hands trembled at her sides. Her mouth opened once, twice, but nothing came out. Across the yard, Adam looked like someone had yanked the oxygen out of his lungs. His beer bottle slipped from his hand, hit the grass with a dull thud. Then the murmurs started. Her mother gasped. Her father stepped forward, face twisted in confusion, then anger. My mom covered her mouth. My dad just shook his head and muttered, "Unbelievable." Melissa turned to me, eyes wide, like I had just set the house on fire. "What did you do?" she whispered. "I told the truth," I said calmly. "You're ruining everything," she hissed, tears threatening now. "Our family, our life." I leaned in slightly, close enough so only she could hear. "No, Melissa, you did that. I just gave the crowd a front row seat." Adam tried to speak up. Of course he did. "Bro, listen, it wasn't like." I didn't even look at him. "Don't call me that," I said cold. "You lost the right." The look on his face? Like a child caught stealing from the collection plate. Shame, fear, disbelief that I wasn't going to make it easy. He glanced around, suddenly realizing what I already knew. There was no escape. Melissa's sister stormed out. Her parents followed. Her mom in tears, her dad muttering something about disgrace. My kids? They stood stone-faced. My son looked at Melissa like he didn't recognize her. My daughter turned her back on both of them and walked inside. I followed, only long enough to shut down the projector, shake a few hands, and thank the people who had the decency to say, "You didn't deserve this." Wyatt handed me a folder with everything ready to go: bank account freezes, property holds, custody preference filings. Noah nodded once and left through the back gate. My part was done. Their story was falling apart all on its own. 30 minutes later, Melissa knocked on the bedroom door. I didn't open it. "I didn't plan this," she said from the hallway, voice hoarse. "It just happened." I stayed silent. "You don't understand what it's like, living with someone who's always gone, who's always working." I opened the door then. She looked wrecked, makeup smeared, hair frayed, her perfect exterior crumbling. "You want to talk about being gone?" I asked. "I was working those hours to pay for your fertility treatments. For this house. For you. So you could sit here and play house with my brother." She started crying. Real tears, maybe. I don't know. I didn't care. "You're going to destroy this family," she whispered. "No," I said flat. "You already did. I'm just writing the obituary." I shut the door again. Locked it. She didn't knock after that. Adam was gone by morning. He left a note on the kitchen counter. "I'm sorry, man. I messed up. I'll stay away. I never meant to hurt you." I tossed it in the trash without reading the rest. Melissa tried to talk to the kids. My son wouldn't even look at her. My daughter told her, point blank, "You don't get to play mom after this." She spent the next 2 days holed up in the guest room, the same room she'd used to cheat. The irony wasn't lost on me. I slept in our bed alone. And I slept well. The following week, her family sent messages, some angry, some apologetic. Her dad offered to help her with a lawyer. I welcomed it. Let her spend every last dime fighting over scraps. She wanted to negotiate. Wanted to talk like adults. I forwarded her request to Wyatt. That's how it went for the next month. No direct contact. No more emotion. Just silence, paperwork, and legal moves. And for every story she tried to tell behind my back, there was evidence. Every time she cried to a friend, I had screenshots. Noah made sure of that. She thought she could rebuild her image. She thought she could lie her way back into social circles. But the thing about playing the victim is you need someone willing to believe you. And she burned every bridge that mattered. Divorce is supposed to feel like death. But this felt like resurrection. After 20 years of marriage, I thought the worst part would be walking away from the life we built. But when that life turns out to be a lie, there's not much left to grieve. We moved fast. Wyatt filed everything the Monday after the party. By Friday, Melissa was served, again, with revised orders freezing our joint accounts and placing an injunction on any assets titled in both names. She tried to fight it. She showed up at Wyatt's office in tears, talking about emotional distress and intent to reconcile. Wyatt, calm as ever, handed her a USB with time-stamped footage of her emotional distress in my brother's bed. She left without another word. Adam never came back. After the party, he vanished, deleted social media, changed his number, packed whatever little he had, and disappeared into whatever shadow life he'd crawled out of. I got a text a few weeks later from a number I didn't recognize. "I'm sorry. I hate myself. I never deserved you as a brother." I read it once, then blocked the number. The kid stayed with me. That wasn't even a conversation. My daughter refused to visit Melissa. My son texted her only once. "You didn't just cheat on Dad. You cheated on us." That broke her more than any footage ever could. I didn't stop them from seeing her. I never poisoned the well. I didn't need to. Melissa's choices did the damage all on their own. Friends took sides, as they always do. Some stayed quiet, pretending not to have seen the video. Others reached out, offering quiet apologies, sympathy, or shock. But her closest circle? It crumbled fast. Turns out, people have a hard time defending someone who betrays the man who paid for her brother-in-law's rehab. Twice. Worse for her, the footage went further than I intended. Noah warned me. Once a file hits a phone, it lives forever. One of Melissa's friends leaked it to a gossip group. It spread like fire through her Pilates class, her work contacts, even her extended family. She became that woman, the one who cheated on her husband with his baby brother. People love that kind of scandal, especially when it's dressed in yoga pants and fake humility. She moved in with a friend, tried therapy, posted a vague quote on Instagram about healing through chaos. Someone replied, "Hope Adam's healing too." She deleted the post, then the account. Meanwhile, I started breathing again. Real breathing. I opened the windows every morning, cooked real food, took the dog on long walks without checking a GPS app for miles traveled. I started sleeping without grinding my teeth. Started remembering what silence sounds like when it's peaceful, not suspicious. I even bought a new bed, burned the old sheets in the fire pit out back. The house didn't feel haunted anymore. It felt mine. People kept asking, "How are you holding up?" And I'd tell them the truth. I'm not broken. I'm rebuilding. Because Melissa didn't break me. Adam didn't break me. They just handed me the hammer. And now? Now I'm using it. Divorce court is a strange place. It's not like the movies. No slamming fists, no gasping crowds. Just quiet, tired judges and fluorescent lights that make everyone look a little more guilty. Melissa showed up looking the way I remember her in our early years. Hair done, pearl earrings, soft makeup like she thought this was a negotiation. She smiled when I walked in. That same fake smile I'd seen her give friends she secretly hated. I didn't smile back. She sat beside her attorney, some junior partner who looked about 12. He tried to make small talk with Wyatt. Wyatt didn't even blink. The hearing was clean. Wyatt led the charge, presented the footage, the timeline, the financials. Melissa's team tried to claim emotional distress, said I publicly humiliated her. Wyatt smiled. "Your Honor," he said, "we have proof she was engaged in a long-term extramarital affair with her husband's brother in his home during the time he was working to support their IVF treatments. The exposure was regrettable, but the actions were her own." The judge nodded slowly. Melissa's face stayed still, but her knuckles turned white. In the end, I kept the house. I kept the car. I kept the retirement account. She walked with far less than she expected, but more than she deserved. She tried to argue for spousal support, claimed I'd abandoned the marriage emotionally. Wyatt pulled up receipts, actual ones, of the rehab fees I'd paid for her affair partner. The judge shut that argument down in under 3 minutes. Melissa left the courthouse without making eye contact. I stood outside under a gray sky and felt nothing but relief. Not joy, not vindication, just the soft, satisfying snap of the last chain breaking. I updated the locks, changed the Wi-Fi, tossed out every piece of furniture she picked, repainted the walls. My daughter helped. She said it was symbolic. It was. We tore out the dining room chandelier she loved so much, replaced it with a ceiling fan. You'd be amazed how healing airflow can be. One night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. I heard the divorce is final. I know I don't have the right, but I hope one day you'll forgive me. Melissa. I stared at it for a minute, then deleted it. No reply, no closure, just silence. She didn't reach out again, but people talked. Turns out, Adam hadn't stayed gone. He'd popped up in Reno, trying to get clean again. Tried to get a job using a fake name. Didn't last long. He called my mom once. She hung up. I guess even parents have limits. Melissa, meanwhile, tried to rebuild. She got a condo, got a new job, even started dating again, some poor guy from her gym. I didn't care, but I heard from a mutual friend that she told him I was emotionally distant and that the marriage just fell apart. Funny, that's not what the footage said. I could have fought back, could have exposed more, shared the videos, burned what little she had left, but I didn't. Because true revenge isn't about noise. It's about absence. No contact, no emotion, no explanation, just nothing. And nothing hurts people like her more than being ignored. It had been 7 months since the divorce was finalized. Life didn't just move on. It got quiet in a way I didn't expect. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't waiting for an apology. I wasn't hoping for karma. Because by then, I'd realized something. Karma doesn't need help. It just needs time. And Melissa? She was running out of it. The first sign was a voicemail from her sister. "Hey, Liam. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Melissa's not doing great. She's been reaching out to people, saying she wants to talk. Just thought you should know." I didn't respond. Didn't have to. The next sign came the following week, in the form of a handwritten letter shoved into my mailbox with no return address. "Liam, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from. I get that. I wanted to say I never stopped loving you. I was lost. I made mistakes. Adam wasn't real. You were. And I see that now. There was more, of course. Pages of it. Rambling. Desperate. Even poetic at times. Like she thought the right words could wash away what she did. But none of it mattered. Because I knew the truth. She didn't come back because she missed me. She came back because she had nowhere else to go. Adam had ghosted her. Apparently, after a short-lived attempt to get clean together in some off-the-map motel, he'd emptied what little money she had left and vanished again. This time, for good. She lost her condo, lost the new job, got caught sleeping with someone's husband at her office, and was let go quietly. Her name was poison in half the social circles she used to thrive in. Her kids stopped responding to her texts. My daughter blocked her entirely. The only thing she hadn't lost? Her talent for rewriting history. 3 days after the letter, she showed up. I heard the knock on the door around 10 p.m. I looked through the peephole, and there she was. Hair damp from rain. Eyes red. Arms wrapped around herself like the cold was some kind of punishment. I opened the door halfway. Said nothing. She looked up. Swallowed. I didn't know where else to go, she said. I waited. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed to see you. To say, her voice broke, to say I was wrong. About everything. She looked so small in that moment. So far from the polished, performative woman she used to be. And for a split second, I saw her the way I once did. The girl who cried during movie trailers, who used to fall asleep with her head on my chest. But that girl was gone. And I wasn't the man who could save her anymore. I stepped aside, just enough for her to think I was letting her in. Then I bent down and picked up the envelope already sitting on the floor behind me. I handed it to her. She looked confused. What's this? I held her gaze. A copy of your letter. I marked every lie. Thought it might help with therapy. Her face crumpled, not with sadness, but shame. She didn't say another word, just nodded, turned, and walked back into the dark. I watched until she was gone. Then I closed the door, locked it, and turned off the porch light. It's strange how quickly peace can feel foreign. After months of emotional war, silence starts to feel like a lie. You catch yourself waiting for the next explosion, a call, a message, another secret slipping out of a shadow. But sometimes there's nothing. No twist, no noise. Just life, continuing. And that's what I finally had. Life. I took time off work, real time. No overnight hauls. No sleeping in the back of a truck. Just early mornings with black coffee and quiet evenings with the dog at my feet. I started fixing up the house. Not for her. For me. I repainted the kitchen. Replaced the bed. Tore down the bathroom mirror we'd picked out together and replaced it with a simple, clean one. For the first time in years, I could look into that glass and not feel like a fool. Just a man. A man who survived the kind of betrayal that could hollow you out completely and came out stronger on the other side. I started therapy. At first, I hated it. Hated the idea of talking to a stranger about what my wife and my own brother did to me. But eventually, it helped. Not because it erased the past, but because it helped me stop letting it own me. The kids and I got closer. They started opening up more, telling me things they used to keep quiet. I realized how much I'd missed while I was always out on the road, trying to keep everything running. And not just logistically, emotionally. Now I made time. Every call, every dinner, every chance to show them that no matter what their mom did, I was still here, still standing, still dad. And then someone new. It didn't start with romance. It started with coffee. Claire was the barista at the corner cafe I started going to on mornings I didn't feel like being alone. She never asked for my story, never pushed, just remembered my order, smiled when I walked in, and asked how the dog was doing. I liked that. A few weeks in, she wrote her number on the sleeve of my cup. I didn't call. Not right away. But eventually I did. And it wasn't fireworks. It was something better. Simple. Real. Quiet. The kind of beginning I never realized I wanted until I had to burn everything down to make room for it. I'm not bitter. Not anymore. Melissa? She made her bed. Every time she reaches out, and yes, she still does from time to time, I don't respond. Not because I'm trying to punish her, but because I'm done bleeding for people who sharpen their knives on my kindness. I don't tell this story for sympathy. I tell it for anyone sitting in silence, feeling like a ghost in their own life. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're just kind. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away. It started with a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. Hey, Mr. Carter, this is Anna Collins from St. Vincent's. I'm trying to reach you regarding a personal matter related to a past patient. Melissa Carter. Please give me a call when you can. I stared at the phone for a long time. St. Vincent's was the clinic where Melissa and I had done our IVF treatments. Years ago, I hadn't thought about that place in months, maybe years. The message didn't sound urgent, but something in the woman's tone sat wrong with me, like someone tiptoeing around a landmine. I called back the next morning. She answered immediately. Thank you for calling back, Mr. Carter. I know this is unexpected. I want to assure you this isn't about money or any ongoing account issues. I waited. But during a recent internal audit, we came across some anomalies in the file from your second IVF cycle. My stomach tightened. What kind of anomalies? She hesitated, professional, but cautious. It appears there may have been a clerical error, one that affected certain patient records, including biological material assignments. The words didn't register at first. Then they did. And when they landed, they knocked the air out of me. What are you saying? I asked, my voice flat. She cleared her throat. I can't say more over the phone, but we'd like to meet with you and potentially conduct a paternity confirmation regarding your daughter, Ava. Silence. Absolute silence. Not rage. Not grief. Just the sound of something inside me collapsing in slow motion. I didn't tell anyone. Not right away. Not even my kids. Instead, I drove to the clinic 2 days later and sat across from a man in a lab coat with tired eyes and a folder full of paperwork. We've identified a mishandling, he said. It's rare, but it happens. And, in your case, it might explain certain inconsistencies. I asked one question. Was Adam a donor? The doctor looked startled. He checked a name. Nodded, slowly. I believe so, yes. I don't remember the rest of the meeting. I remember the parking lot. I remember my hands shaking so hard, I dropped my keys. I remember the sound of the car door slamming shut, like punctuation at the end of a sentence I never wanted to read. I waited a week before I asked Ava to come home. We sat on the porch. She drank iced tea. I couldn't look at her, but she looked at me, like she knew something was coming. And maybe, somehow, she did. Dad, she said. What is it? I took a long breath, then told her. Not the ugly version, just the honest one. About the clinic, the records, the possibility. She didn't cry. She just sat there, processing. And then she said something I'll never forget. Even if it's true, you're still my dad. That broke me. For the first time in all of it, the affair, the footage, the courtroom, I cried like I was the one who had been found out. Not because I lost something, but because I didn't. We did the test. And yeah, it came back positive. Ava wasn't biologically mine. She was Adam's. But I raised her, held her through every nightmare, helped with every science project, taught her how to drive, cheered from the bleachers. Blood never made me her father. Love did. And she knew that. I never told Melissa I knew. She probably doesn't even know herself. If it was on purpose, that's a sin she'll carry. If it was an accident, that's one more ghost in the pile. Either way, I'm done carrying her consequences. The last time she messaged me, she said, I hope one day you'll remember the good, not just the ending. But that's the thing about endings. They don't erase the past. They reveal it. And me? I don't live in the ending anymore. I live in the beginning that came after. The one I built. With scars instead of maps. With silence that doesn't hurt anymore. And with people who stayed. People who chose me. People who never needed to lie to love me.